York wants Shedeur Sanders. The Jets are desperate for a spark, and now fans and media are calling for a trade. Imagine Shedeur Sanders taking over the biggest stage in football.
And then I heard this. Somebody sent me this on Twitter, and I put two and two together and went, oh, okay. Here's Evan Roberts yesterday on WFAN in New York.
It is time for the Jets to acquire Shedeur Sanders from the Cleveland Browns. And someone tell me why that's a bad idea. And I don't want to hear about it's a circus. It's a circus? What's this? What the hell is this that we're watching? Bad, crappy football is a circus. The Jets should have drafted this guy, I don't know, second, third, fourth. They got a million opportunities to draft him. He has not gotten an opportunity in Cleveland. I don't really care about the Cleveland Browns, so I'm not going to fight their battles. I'll let Josina Anderson take care of that. All I'm saying is I see a talent, a guy I think we all talked about him as a guy that could at least be a serviceable starting quarterback in the NFL. They are not giving him a chance in Cleveland. If I'm Darren Muji, I call up my contemporaries in Cleveland, and I say, here's a fifth-round pick back. Here's your fifth back. Let's get Shedeur in here, and let's see what the kid has got, because why not?
For the record, it was not.
New York wants Shedeur Sanders. The fans are screaming it, the media's debating it, and the Jets' locker room can feel it. This city, the city that never sleeps, wants a quarterback with swagger, leadership, and the kind of presence that can own the lights of MetLife Stadium. Because let's be real, the Jets are desperate for a spark. This offense looks lifeless, the play calling is flat, and the energy around the team feels dead on arrival. You can sense the frustration in every fan from Queens to Jersey. They've seen enough of mediocrity, enough of wait till next year. And now, for the first time, that desperation has a name: Shedeur Sanders. When WFAN's Evan Roberts went live on New York radio saying, it's time for the Jets to acquire Shedeur Sanders, social media exploded. Fans started flooding comment sections. Clips went viral. Even former players started chiming in. And honestly, Roberts made a point that's hard to ignore. He said, "Don't tell me it's a circus. What we're watching right now is already a circus. Bad football is the real circus." That line hit a nerve, because it's true. The Jets aren't winning. The product on the field is ugly. And meanwhile, in Cleveland, a young quarterback with poise, confidence, and a Heisman-level work ethic is sitting on the bench watching it all unfold. If bad football is a circus, then the Jets have been running the biggest show on earth. And Shedeur Sanders might just be the ringmaster they've been waiting for. Imagine this for a second: Shedeur Sanders walking into MetLife Stadium wearing that number 2, with prime energy radiating off every step. The cameras flash, the fans erupt, and the swagger of Coach Prime's son takes over the biggest media market in the world. You can't script a better story for New York. Even NFL insiders are saying it. If the Jets traded for Shedeur, it would instantly change the culture. Ticket sales, jersey sales, social buzz, all of it would skyrocket. Because Shedeur isn't just a player. He's a brand. He's an energy. He's the prime effect. But before New York can make that dream happen, there's a wall in Cleveland. A front office that doesn't seem ready to let go. Over on Cleveland Sports Radio, analysts are starting to argue. Some say the Browns should hold on to Shedeur and finally see what they've got. Others think it's time to let him go, let the kid get a real opportunity somewhere else. Because right now, he's not getting one in Cleveland. Shedeur's been sitting behind Deshaun Watson, waiting, watching, learning, but never playing. And the Browns coaches keep talking about development. But at what point does development turn into delay? One Cleveland host even said it straight: "I don't think they're sticking it to Shedeur on purpose. But their actions speak louder than words." And that's the key phrase: actions speak louder than words. The Browns say they're developing him, but everything they've done screams the opposite. They're drafting quarterbacks, talking about the future, and avoiding every opportunity to put Shedeur on the field. So here's the question that's starting to echo across sports radio stations coast to coast. If Cleveland doesn't believe in Shedeur, why not trade him to a team that does? Why not let him bring the prime effect to Broadway? Jets fans, be honest. If New York traded a 5th-round pick for Shedeur Sanders, would you back it? Or are you still holding out for a veteran fix that hasn't worked in years? Let us know in the comments below. And the thing is, a 5th-round pick might be all it takes. That's what Evan Roberts proposed. A simple trade. Here's your 5th-round pick back, Cleveland. Give us Shedeur Sanders. A 5th-round pick for a quarterback who could ignite a fan base, change the offense, and bring star power that money can't buy? That's not just smart, that's historic value. Even one Cleveland commentator agreed, saying, "You got him at a steep discount. You're not spending much, but you're getting a player who could make you a whole lot of money." And he's not wrong. Shedeur in New York would be bigger than football. Picture Times Square lit up with his face. Picture every kid in New Jersey rocking a Jets jersey that says Sanders on the back. Because when Shedeur walks into a city, he doesn't just play, he transforms the culture. And let's be honest, that's exactly what the Jets need right now. The Jets don't just need a quarterback, they need a movement. And Shedeur Sanders is the movement. But of course, not everyone agrees. Some Cleveland voices are standing firm, saying they don't want to trade Shedeur at all. They argue they still want to see what he's got, that there's still hope left in this season. But even they admit it's fading fast. One analyst said, "I'm running out of things to look forward to this season," and Shedeur is one of the few. So what's the real reason they're holding him back? Some say it's fear. Fear of making another Baker Mayfield mistake, trading away a potential franchise quarterback, only to watch him thrive somewhere else. And that might be it. Because if Shedeur went to New York and lit it up, the headlines would write themselves. Browns let future MVP walk. Nobody in Cleveland wants to be responsible for that headline. But here's where things start to turn from frustrating to fascinating, because not everyone in the Browns organization agrees. There's a growing belief that Shedeur's situation might be more business than football.
You need a game changer. You need a leader. You need somebody to step in that's marketable, that's popular, that's going to get the fans riled up and excited. And that's the thing we're trying to see in Cleveland. But if Shedeur get traded to the Jets, one of the biggest markets in the whole world, just imagine the jersey sale. Just imagine the ticket sale. Just imagine the Jets fans that's coming from Cleveland with Shedeur to the Jets. Why not spend a 5th-round pick, maybe even 2 5th-round picks or a 6th-round pick included to get Shedeur? I'm telling you, you got him at a steep discount. That Andrew Berry words. You ain't spending that much money on him, and he gonna make you a whole lot of money. And I want to see him in New York anyway, just because he gonna get an opportunity and the chance to play.
All right, couple of reasons. One, I want to see what he's got. Two, a couple of reasons I'm not trading him. I'm not trading Shedeur Sanders. One, I want to see what he's got. Two, I want to see what he's got, and I'm still looking forward to something in this season because I'm running out of things to look forward to in this season. Number three, and this is the lowest. It's not the biggest reason. You know, I've had some knockdown dragouts about this guy, and I've had to deal with a lot of people over these last few months.
One host broke it down perfectly. He said, "These billionaires don't care about what fans think. They're making money regardless. Between stadium deals, land, and merchandising, Shedeur playing doesn't affect their wallets." And that right there, that's the ugly truth of the NFL. This league is a business. Teams talk about loyalty and development, but behind closed doors, it's about profit margins and PR. So while Shedeur waits for his shot, executives are counting revenue streams, not touchdowns. And you can bet New York fans are watching all of this unfold with clenched fists and open wallets. Because they know, if the Jets can pull this off, if they can bring Shedeur Sanders to the Big Apple, it changes everything. It's bigger than football. It's culture. It's family legacy. It's prime time 2.0. Cleveland fans, do you honestly believe your front office is developing Shedeur, or are they just protecting themselves from another Mayfield-style embarrassment? And Jets fans, would you give up a 4th or 5th rounder to bring Prime Jr. to New York? And that's where we'll leave it for now, because this story's just heating up. The pressure in Cleveland is boiling. The tension in New York is growing. And Shedeur Sanders? He's still waiting for his phone to ring. Because somewhere in between the Browns' hesitation and the Jets' desperation, There's a trade that could change the NFL's balance of power. If Cleveland's too scared to unleash Shedeur, maybe it's time New York gave him the stage he deserves. You see, this isn't just about Shedeur Sanders anymore. This is about New York's desperation. A city that has been promised greatness for years, from Mark Sanchez to Sam Darnold to Zach Wilson, and every time, that dream collapsed in the spotlight of Broadway. The Jets have been starving for an identity, for a quarterback who can stand in front of the New York media, shrug off the pressure, and say, "Yeah, I was built for this." And guess what? That's Shedeur Sanders in a nutshell. But here's where things get wild. There's a growing belief that Shedeur wants that challenge. Sources close to the Sanders camp reportedly said he's intrigued by the idea of being the face of a major market. The man grew up surrounded by cameras, expectations, and primetime lights. Colorado's games looked more like Hollywood premieres than college football matchups. You think he'd be afraid of Madison Avenue, the paparazzi, or the screaming fans at MetLife? Shedeur thrives on that energy. Now, let's paint this picture. Imagine Shedeur in green and white. The New York tabloid splash, Primetime Junior comes to Broadway, across the back pages. Nike rolls out a new campaign, from the Rockies to the Big Apple. The city falls in love again, and suddenly, the Jets are no longer a punchline. They're box office. And yet, not everyone's sold on it. Former Jets players are warning the organization, don't ruin another young QB. Not this one. They've seen this movie before. High hopes, bright lights, and then the system breaks the player before he ever has a chance to breathe. That's why people are saying if Shedeur ends up in New York, it can't be business as usual. He'd need full support, from ownership to coaching to offensive design. Now, Aaron Rodgers' shadow looms over all of this. He's still under contract, but how much gas does he really have left? He's 42, coming off an Achilles tear, and still talking about retirement podcasts and vaccine conspiracies more than football. If the Jets draft Shedeur, Rodgers immediately becomes a mentor-turned-placeholder, and that dynamic could explode. Imagine the media coverage. Rodgers versus Shedeur in training camp. Headlines every day. Tweets flying. ESPN debates. It would be chaos, beautiful chaos. And if there's one thing that fuels the NFL machine, it's chaos with star power attached. So let's be real. If you're the Jets, you're looking at this as more than just a football decision. You're looking at the brand. You're looking at jersey sales, primetime games, international buzz, and youth engagement. The NFL is a business first, and Shedeur Sanders is the most marketable player since Joe Burrow walked into Cincinnati in a suit and shades. The difference? Shedeur's got Deion Sanders behind him. You're not just drafting a quarterback. You're bringing in the Prime Empire. But would Coach Prime even approve? That's the million-dollar question. If Shedeur's heading to New York, it means Deion has to trust that organization. He's seen how NFL teams mishandle young black quarterbacks. He's watched history repeat itself. He'll want assurances, real ones. A system that protects Shedeur. A coaching staff that believes in his son's leadership. A city that doesn't eat him alive after one bad game. And if any team can promise that, it better be New York. Because when that city loves you, it loves you loud. Here's another thing. Inside the Jets' locker room, there's division. Veterans who are tired of losing might actually welcome the energy Shedeur brings. Young receivers are whispering about it already. Man, imagine catching passes from Shedeur Sanders. The kid's accuracy, his pocket patience, the way he reads defense, he's not your average rookie. He's been studying NFL tape since high school. And then there's the rivalry angle. Imagine the headlines, Shedeur versus Caleb Williams twice a year. Jets versus Bears. The NFL marketing department would be salivating. It's generational talent versus generational spotlight. It's swagger versus swagger. But with all that hype comes risk. New York eats its young. If Shedeur starts 1-3, the media will question his maturity, his style, his attitude. They'll bring up Deion's name every 5 minutes. That's why this move would take guts, not just from the Jets, but from Shedeur himself. Because once you walk through those New York doors, there's no turning back. And let's not forget, other teams are lurking. The Raiders have been monitoring Shedeur since his Colorado days. The Patriots are reportedly intrigued by his poise. Even the Commanders, yeah, the same team that's been through more quarterbacks than coaches, could jump into the race. But only one team needs him the way New York does. The question now becomes, will the Jets make that call before someone else does? The trade scenarios are swirling. ESPN's Mike Tannenbaum said it best. If the Jets don't take this swing now, they'll regret it for a decade. Because whether you love him or hate him, Shedeur Sanders is the most polarizing prospect in football right now. And polarizing sells. But think about it from Shedeur's perspective. Does he want to be the savior of the most pressure-packed city in sports? Or does he want to slow build somewhere like Minnesota or Tampa Bay, where expectations are lower and the spotlight softer? Because let's face it, the NFL graveyard is filled with quarterbacks who were handed chaos instead of structure. Still, there's something poetic about this potential move. Primetime Senior conquered the spotlight. He became the spotlight. And now, Primetime Junior might follow in his father's footsteps, but in a city even bigger than Dallas, even louder than Atlanta, even more relentless than anywhere else. It's destiny versus danger. Legacy versus risk. Shedeur Sanders versus the city that never sleeps. And maybe, just maybe, this is exactly how it was meant to be. So New York, the ball's in your court. You've got the money. You've got the platform. You've got the hunger. Now, do you have the courage to bring prime time to Broadway? Because one thing's for sure, if the Jets pull this off, the league will never be the same again. This is the story of opportunity, legacy, and the pressure cooker called New York football. This is Shedeur Sanders stepping into the empire, and maybe, just maybe, becoming the savior the Jets have been searching for since Namath. And to everyone watching right now, I gotta ask, would you want Shedeur Sanders in New York? Or is that just too much pressure for any rookie to handle? Drop your thoughts below, and if you're ready for more of these explosive breakdowns, hit that like button, subscribe to Gridiron Insights, and turn on those notifications, because this story, oh, it's just getting started.